Have you ever asked a huge, profound question and just been met with, well, complete silence? Today, we're diving into an ancient text, the Aggivacchasutta, where a philosopher does exactly that. And the Buddha's refusal to answer creates this incredible puzzle that, you'll see, reveals way more than any simple answer ever could.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get into the mystery of these unanswered questions. Then, I'll show you a special way to read this ancient text. We're going to look at a brilliant analogy the Buddha used, and finally, we'll see what it all means for us, right here, right now. So I want you to picture this. There's this curious wanderer, his name's Vacchagotta, and he goes up to the Buddha. Now, he is not there for small talk. He has the biggest, most fundamental questions about reality itself, and he wants answers.
He kicks it off with the huge one, a question that philosophers have been chewing on for thousands of years. Is the universe eternal? Is that the only truth? And is everything else just foolish?
And the Buddhist response? It's super simple and direct. No, Vaccha, that is not my view. He doesn't offer a different theory, he just shuts that one down.
So Vacchagotta, he tries the total opposite. Okay, fine. Then is the universe finite? Is that the only truth?
And, you guessed it, same answer, no. Vacchagotta, that's not my view either. You can practically feel Vacchagotta's frustration just building up here.
And this just keeps going. Vacchagotta fires off a whole series of 10 of these huge questions. Does a soul exist after death? Nope. Does it not exist? Nope. Does it both exist and not exist? Still no. Neither? Not that either. For every single question, the Buddha just refuses to pick a side. And this brings us right to the heart of the puzzle for us. Why? Why would this great teacher refuse to answer some of the most important questions about existence? Is he just dodging the question, or is he trying to teach us something much deeper about the questions themselves?
So, how in the world do we solve a puzzle like this? Well, a simple translation isn't going to cut it. We need a new way to read the text, a method for looking way deeper. We're going to use what I call a three-lens approach. Here's our toolkit. First, we'll look at the modern, kind of standard translation of one keyword. Second, we're going to go deeper, almost like linguistic archaeologists, to find its ancient original meaning. And third, we'll see how the Buddha himself turns this deep insight into a powerful visual story. Let's start with our first lens. Vacchagotta keeps asking the Buddha if he holds a certain view. Now, in the original Pali language, the word he uses is absolutely crucial to understanding this entire conversation. That word is ditthi. Now, a standard modern dictionary will tell you it means view, opinion, or maybe speculation. And on the surface, it really seems like Vacchagotta is just asking, hey, is this your opinion? And the Buddha's saying no. But trust me, that surface translation misses the entire point. All right, now let's grab our second lens and go deeper. The ancient scholars had this amazing method of looking at the root of a word to really get its true intention. And when we do this for ditthi, well, it changes everything. So, the modern lens gives us view, but the ancient root, it reveals a meaning that is so much stronger. It's not just an idea you have casually, it's a mental grip. It's an idea that has tangled you up, an intellectual position that you are clinging to for dear life. This insight is it's profound. Ditthi comes from a root that means to hold fast. So when Vacchagotta asks, is this your ditthi? What he's really asking is, are you clinging to this position? Is this the idea that's got a grip on you? And the Buddha just keeps saying no. He's not trapped by any of these ideas. And this just brilliantly illustrates the Buddha's point. He calls these fixed positions, these ditthis, a wilderness, a contortion, a fetter. He sees them not as paths to the truth, but as actual traps that cause arguments, conflict, and suffering. He's not playing the game because he sees the game itself as the problem. Okay, so at this point, Vacchagotta is just completely bewildered. So the Buddha switches gears. He sees that all this intellectual back and forth isn't working, so he moves to our third lens, the visual story. He uses this simple, powerful analogy to make his point crystal clear. He starts by asking Vacchagotta to just imagine a fire. What does a fire need to burn? Well, it depends on fuel. In this case, let's say grass and sticks. So as long as there's fuel, the flame burns. The existence of the fire is completely dependent on its cause, which is the fuel. Simple enough, right? But then, the fuel runs out, and without its cause, the fire goes out. It's extinguished. The flame is just gone. Now this is the brilliant part. The Buddha asks Vacchagotta, this fire that has gone out, where did it go? Did it go north, south, east, or west? And the question, it just sounds absurd. And Vacchagotta himself totally gets it. The question doesn't apply. The fire didn't go anywhere, it just stopped existing when its fuel was taken away. The question itself is based on a totally false idea that a fire is a thing that can travel around.
And that is the masterstroke. The Buddha connects this analogy right back to the whole mystery. Those questions about whether the universe is eternal or not, they're exactly like asking where the fire went. They assume these concepts are fixed, independent things, when really they're processes, totally dependent on causes and conditions. You see, the Buddha's silence wasn't about not having an answer, it was an invitation to question the questions themselves. It suggests that real freedom isn't found in having all the right answers, but in letting go of the wrong questions. And that really leaves us with a thought, doesn't it? In our own lives, what fires have gone out that we're still asking which direction they went? What questions are we asking that just don't apply?